is your show, Líderes del Futuro. My name is Rafael Vázquez Guzman, and today we have the privilege to have Dr. Adrián Trinidad, who is the Associate Director for Community College Partnerships at University of Southern California in the Race and Equity Center. Dr. Trinidad, welcome to the show. It's a privilege having you here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Professor Guzman. And please just Adrian is fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And we wanted to talk briefly about the briefs that you are putting out there to the community about how can we better the experience and improve the success of college students out there. Could you tell us first, why are you doing this work? What called your attention to do this work? And then give us information about the actual work that you're doing.
Yeah, of course. So College Futures invested in the Race and Equity Center to put together these resources that focused on various aspects of racial equity in the California community colleges. And one aspect of that is the solution briefs. And they're intended to be, very short, concise solutions to practice. And so we surveyed, we lead professional development with community colleges across the state. And we surveyed the participants of those offerings. And we got about 2,000 or 3,000 responses about what they believed were issues that prevented racial equity from being a priority in the system. And based on those 2,000 to 3,000 responses, we've been putting together these solution briefs, and they've been released as sets with themes on them. And, the purpose is for basically, researchers, faculty in the California community colleges, counselors, and other system leaders and practitioners to write an answer to a question. So some of the questions, for example, were on buy-in. How do you get people to support racial equity in a department? Or how do you lead conversations or dialogues about race and racism in a given discipline? How do you think about this idea of like guided pathways, for example, and integrate racial equity into that framework? These various questions about thinking about racial equity intentionally, that's been the focus of these practice solution briefs. And the nice thing about them is, they're pretty concise, right? It's not a huge abstract, hard to read report. They're intended to be easily read, and they have tangible recommendations based on research, based on professional experience, based on the latest understanding of the field. How do you do this work? How do you center racial equity in these various areas? We've released 2 sets so far, and we're going to release another one in February, focused on formerly incarcerated students. And these are publicly available resources. They're on our website now. If you go to racial equity for FORCCC.com, you'll be able to see the resources. The page will also be linked on our USC Race and Equity Center website. And you can download them, share them. Some people have been using them as part of their course curriculum, or sharing it out to different department meetings and things like that. So it's really, just see the questions and see if it's something that might interest you. And again, we have a series planned. We're trying to release them about every 2 or 3 months. So the next one's in February, and we're aiming for another one in the summer. And then we have another 2 others that are planned in the fall semester of 2023. And so it's exciting. People have been really liking these solution briefs. And they're a really good resource. I think what's also powerful is that these are primarily written by different leaders across the state, and really highlighting what they have learned over their many years of experience, and really speaking about their journey and really making it personable, right? A lot of times this racial equity work can seem so abstract and sort of disconnected from what it's like, right? The challenges of advocating sometimes, right? Or frequently, or putting yourself out there professionally to really vouch and really support students of color. And the tension, the emotional labor that can fall on you as a person of color leading this work. And people really are genuine and are speaking towards that in these solution briefs and how they've navigated some of those challenges. And so I really appreciate that that lens of people being able to speak from their experience, but also the amazing work that they're doing.
And I've checked out the information you put out there so far, and you focus on so many pieces. Again, the guided pathways, but you also had one about how to collaborate or work best within your colleges with the undocumented community. And I'm really excited about the ones for people who are wanting to create welcoming and safe spaces for people coming out of jails, prisons, and juvenile halls. Because often, in many scenarios, one of my areas of interest has always been the undocumented community. And what I found a lot of the time is people will just wash their hands by saying, you know what, I don't know anything about this. Okay, well, let me refer you to this website, which is yours, right? Where people can learn a little bit about it and how to create healthy spaces so that we can create environments for students to learn, succeed, and then go out there into the community and contribute at a greater degree. And the reality is, this is applicable again for people who are undocumented, but also teen parents, right? Parents who in high school ended up having a baby and maybe drop out of high school, came back, and now they want to be college students, or people coming out of prison after 10 and 12 years who want to change their lives. And so I really like the type of information that you're putting out there for the community. And we were talking off the air about the great importance also of getting the student perspective, not just the researcher, not just the person who has been doing this for 10 and 20 years, but students themselves. Could you give us a little bit more information about what you have planned for student voices?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a really exciting trio of these ideation challenges, and they're going to focus on the students and their experiences. We're going to put a call out for students to submit proposals, and they will be able to, we're going to award first, second, and third place monetary prizes for students that are applying, that are submitting these proposals. And basically, the prompts will focus on racial equity questions. How can students, in particular students of color, what are the issues that community colleges should address? What makes the experience of a person of color navigating community colleges, um, you know, um, inequitable? How can we ensure that more students are completing? And students will be submitting these proposals, and they will be the ones that receive the prizes. And I think what's beautiful about that is being able to learn from students, primarily the persons that are experiencing the microaggressions in the classroom, that maybe perhaps are frustrated but really want to succeed, that aren't given the resources, or maybe aren't spoken to in the way that shows that that respects their dignity, who they are as people in their communities, and what they bring to the table, and that honors that, right? um, I think that's what's going to be really exciting about these ideation challenges. We're going to have one in the spring semester. The portal will be open about 2 months for folks to submit their proposals. In the summer, we're going to have another one, and then in the fall, we're going to have another one. So multiple points at which students can submit these proposals to for this challenge, and then we're going to include the proposals on the same website as the application portal, so other people will be able to see what was submitted. What are some of the ideas? What are some of the things that students have said needs to happen for racial equity to be actualized in the California community colleges? And by the way, the students that are the people who are making these, who are going to be making these ideation challenge prompts, are students themselves. So it's going to be, created by, submitted by, and the prizes will all, go towards students. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and again, that's often the group of people that is ignored, right? A lot of research, again, somebody may come and ask questions in general, but unless you're asking the questions in an open-ended way where they have the ability to really share their feelings, their thoughts, and their ideas, and that's how I like to conduct a lot of my surveys in the community college where I work, so that then when I go and conduct professional development trainings, I say, this is what students say, and then we can quote students, right, while leaving their personal identifiers um, out, but we can say students say this, and this is a quote directly from a student. By the way, 50% say this, 30% say the following. And I just conducted a little bit of work with high school students in my area locally. And again, to see that 50% of high school students say that they do not feel comfortable going to a teacher to tell them about their mental health problems, 60% don't want to go to a counselor, and then 15% of them said, this is out of 253 surveys, 15% of them say they don't feel comfortable being at home and talking to somebody at home about their mental health problems. But then about 30% of these individuals say they know somebody who
Mm,
is using drugs or alcohol to cope with their mental health difficulties, right?
right.
Hearing their voices is so important. And then when you ask them, why don't you want to talk to somebody? And they give you responses like, I do not want to worry them.
Mm,
I don't want to talk to my teacher or my counselor because they're going to call CPS, because they're going to call my parents. And then we're going to have problems at home because they don't care.
right.
And when you ask them, what could the schools do to improve the situation? They say, I want them to create safe spaces where everything is confidential. I would like more therapists. I would like more social workers, so on and so forth, right? So unless we are hearing directly from them, right, we can sit
Right.
here and just guess to a certain degree what is the best, what is the actual problem, and what is the best solution. So again, I'm excited about the work that you're doing. I'm excited about the proposals that you're going to put out there for college students to actually present problems that they see in their communities and how to solve those in order to create equity in education. And so I'm excited. And again, I look forward once the research comes out for February, and whenever you're ready to invite college students to again submit these proposals, I look forward to getting together and meeting with you in order to promote that, and for you to maybe bring some of these experts as well, so that we can interview them and have them share with us what is going on, what do they see as the problems, and again, what are some of the solutions. So I'm really excited about this collaboration. And I want to thank again Dr. Adrian Trinidad, who again is here. He's the Associate Director for Community College Partnerships at University of Southern California in this Race and Equity Center. So I want to thank you for taking the time and being with us for this brief introduction to the great project that you're working on. And I look forward to future collaboration.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the invitation. Gracias.